When a woman stops chasing, everything changes. She realizes that her power isn't in pursuit, it's in her presence. When she no longer tries to convince, explain, or prove her worth to anyone, her silence becomes magnetic. Men notice when she no longer fills the space with words or worry. There's a calm confidence in her restraint, a sense of grounded self assurance that says, I know what I bring, and I don't need to chase what's unsure. That energy shifts the dynamic instantly because when she's no longer trying to earn attention, she becomes the one people naturally pay attention to. It's not about playing hard to get, it's about being hard to shake. There's a big difference. She doesn't need to be loud to be noticed, and she doesn't compete for validation. Instead, she lets her actions and energy speak louder than any text or explanation ever could. When she stays centered, when she holds her composure, even when things feel uncertain, she shows a level of maturity that commands quiet respect. Men can sense that stillness, that calm that says, I'm good whether you stay or go. That's strength, and it's the kind of strength that doesn't need to prove anything. Chasing comes from fear. Fear of loss, fear of rejection, fear of being forgotten. But when she replaces fear with faith in her value, she stops overinvesting in people who give her half effort. She no longer overanalyzes every word or action. She doesn't try to fix what's unclear. Instead, she allows space. And that space creates clarity. It gives the other person room to realize what she truly brings to the table. The truth is, men don't respect what's always available. They respect what's intentional. When she steps back from chasing, she gives him the opportunity to step forward, and if he doesn't, she knows that's her answer. Her composure doesn't mean she's cold or detached. It means she's selective with her energy. She can care deeply and still know when to pause. That kind of discipline is rare because it takes emotional control to stay calm when your instincts want to reach out. But that control is what separates the women who are respected from the ones who are just entertained. When she doesn't rush to fill silence or fix uncertainty, she allows her self-worth to do the talking. Her calm becomes her loudest message, and it says, I'm not chasing what's not choosing me. What makes this rule powerful is that it's rooted in peace, not pride. She's not withholding affection or attention to manipulate. She's simply honoring herself enough to stop pouring energy into things that don't pour back. That kind of emotional intelligence is magnetic because it shows she's grounded. Men respect a woman who can remain composed when others would crumble. They notice when she can keep her cool, maintain her standards, and still be kind. That balance of grace and strength is what leaves a lasting impression. It's not about control, it's about confidence. In the end, the woman who doesn't chase earns a different kind of respect. She's not seen as passive. She's seen as powerful. Her calm confidence speaks volumes because it's built on self-awareness. She's not trying to win anyone over. She's simply choosing herself every time, and that choice changes how the world treats her. When she stops chasing, she teaches others how to value her, and when she stays true to that standard, respect doesn't just follow, it stays. Setting boundaries without apology is one of the clearest signs of inner strength. It's not about control or confrontation. It's about clarity. When a woman calmly expresses what she will and will not accept, she's not creating walls. She's defining the terms of respect. She doesn't yell, threaten, or justify. She simply stands firm in what aligns with her values. That steadiness is powerful because it tells the world, I take myself seriously and I expect you to do the same. And when she does that consistently, men can't help but respect her because boundaries communicate self-respect louder than words ever could. She understands that a boundary isn't a punishment, it's protection. It's how she maintains her peace, her time, and her emotional balance. When she says no, she's not being difficult, she's being discerning. When she walks away from behavior that disrespects her, she's not overreacting. She's reinforcing her standards. That kind of consistency earns respect because it shows she's not moved by guilt or pressure. She doesn't negotiate her worth to make someone else comfortable. Instead, she chooses herself, quietly, firmly, and with full conviction that anyone meant to stay in her life will adjust to her standards, not the other way around. What makes her boundaries powerful is that she delivers them with calm, not chaos. She doesn't need to over-explain or argue to be understood. Her tone, her energy, her presence, they all say, "This is where I stand." That calmness makes people listen, because the louder someone tries to force respect, the less they have it. True respect comes when someone can calmly hold their line without needing to convince anyone. She doesn't announce her boundaries for attention. She lives them in every decision she makes, and that quiet consistency builds credibility. The real test comes when those boundaries are challenged. When someone tries to guilt her, test her patience, or push past her limits, that's when her strength shows. She doesn't react emotionally or abandon her principles just to avoid conflict. She stays grounded in what she knows she deserves. That's not easy. It takes courage to hold your line when emotions are high or when you fear losing someone. But that's where respect is built, in those moments when she proves she's not afraid to walk away from what crosses the line. Boundaries lose power the second they become negotiable, and she knows that. Men deeply respect women who don't waver in their standards because it shows emotional maturity. When she can stay composed even when she's challenged, she demonstrates control, and control is something every strong person admires. She teaches people how to treat her by how she treats herself. If she respects her own limits, others learn to respect them too. That quiet certainty draws attention, not because she demands it, but because she embodies it. Her presence tells people they can't play games with her, and her calm tone makes it clear she's not easily shaken. Boundaries, when set with confidence, don't push people away. They filter who's meant to stay. The ones who truly value her will rise to meet her standards, not resist them. The ones who don't will reveal themselves and fade away. Either way, she wins because she keeps her peace intact. The woman who sets boundaries without apology doesn't need to chase validation or approval. Her self-respect is her anchor, and that's what makes her unforgettable. Her strength isn't loud, her power isn't aggressive, but her clarity commands deep, lasting respect. Emotional control is one of the most powerful qualities a woman can possess, and it's often the quietest one in the room. When she masters her reactions, she changes the way people perceive her. She doesn't let emotions dictate her behavior. She lets awareness guide it. That doesn't mean she suppresses her feelings. It means she chooses when and how to express them. She knows that every emotional outburst, every impulsive reaction gives her power away. So instead, she breathes, pauses, and decides how to respond with intention. That calm energy doesn't go unnoticed. It makes men pay attention because composure is rare, and rare always earns respect. When she controls her emotional energy, she protects her peace. She doesn't take everything personally or rush to defend herself when someone misunderstands her. Instead, she steps back, observes, and only invests her emotions where they matter. That balance gives her a quiet authority. It's the reason why people trust her, why men listen to her words more carefully, and why she can walk into any room and command respect without saying much. Because emotional maturity isn't loud, it's steady. It's not about avoiding emotion, it's about mastering it so it serves you, not controls you. She understands that not every action deserves a reaction. Some things are better met with silence, others with patience, and a few with calm honesty. She doesn't waste energy trying to prove her point to someone who isn't listening or fighting battles that don't grow her. When she feels angry, she doesn't explode, she evaluates. When she feels hurt, she doesn't chase closure, she creates it within herself. That level of emotional discipline sends a strong message. She's not reactive, she's reflective. And reflection always commands more respect than reaction ever could. This control isn't coldness, it's awareness. She can feel deeply and still choose peace over drama. She can love intensely and still know when to pause. That balance is what gives her strength. When things get tense or uncertain, people look to her for stability because she doesn't lose herself in emotion. She doesn't beg for understanding or validation. She stands grounded in her truth, even when it's uncomfortable. And that presence alone earns respect because it takes courage to stay calm when everything around you is trying to pull you into chaos. Men notice when a woman can manage her emotions without making them his responsibility. It shows self sufficiency, it shows control, it shows she can handle pressure with grace. That kind of woman doesn't drain a man's energy, she inspires his respect. Because emotional control communicates one powerful message. She's not moved by external chaos, she's driven by inner peace. And that peace is what makes her stand out. She doesn't demand attention through reaction, she draws it through restraint. In a world where everyone reacts instantly, the one who pauses becomes powerful. Her calmness makes people think twice before crossing her, not because she's intimidating, but because her energy is too valuable to disturb. She doesn't engage in emotional tug of wars, and she doesn't let temporary emotions create permanent damage. She keeps her standards, her tone, and her energy aligned, and that quiet control becomes her strength. When she owns her emotions instead of being owned by them, she becomes the kind of woman people respect, deeply, consistently, and without question. Walking away when something no longer aligns with her worth is one of the strongest, most self-respecting moves a woman can make. It's not easy because walking away often means leaving behind comfort, history, or potential. But she understands that staying somewhere that drains her peace is far more costly. When she decides to leave, it's not out of anger or revenge, it's out of self-respect. She realizes that her energy, her love, and her loyalty are not gifts to be wasted on people who take them for granted. That calm decision to walk away sends a louder message than any argument ever could. I value myself too much to stay where I'm not valued. There's strength in knowing when to stop trying. When she no longer tries to fix what keeps breaking, she's not giving up. She's letting go. She knows that forcing something to work when it's already shown her its limits only leads to resentment. Instead, she releases it with grace. That grace, that ability to walk away without bitterness, earns deep respect because it shows she's not controlled by emotion. She's guided by clarity. She doesn't need closure from someone else to move on. Her peace is her closure. That quiet confidence leaves an impact on anyone who once underestimated her strength. When she values herself enough to walk away, she's not just setting a boundary, she's redefining her standard. She teaches people that access to her life, her time, and her attention is a privilege, not a right, and that privilege can be revoked when it's misused. Men respect that. They respect the woman who can love deeply and still know when to stop investing in something that's no longer healthy. That kind of self-control isn't about ego, it's about wisdom. It takes emotional maturity to choose yourself when your heart wants to stay. But every time she walks away from less, she makes space for more peace, more respect, more alignment. Her decision to leave doesn't come with drama or explanation. She doesn't make grand exits or speeches. She simply removes her presence. That absence speaks for itself. It's in the silence after she stops showing up, after she stops texting first, after she stops giving endless chances. That's when the reality hits. Not because she punished anyone, but because she finally stopped making excuses for them. Walking away with grace is power because it's the kind of strength people feel long after she's gone. It makes them reflect, question, and realize what they lost. Men respect the woman who can detach from what doesn't serve her without resentment. She doesn't need to prove she's over it or act indifferent. Her peace does the talking, and peace is the loudest form of confidence there is. When she leaves quietly, it shows she's not seeking validation, she's choosing freedom. That energy creates a lasting impression because it's not fueled by emotion, it's fueled by self-worth. And self-worth is magnetic. It tells the world that she knows her value and she'll never settle for anything that asks her to shrink it. In the end, walking away isn't about leaving someone behind, it's about walking back to herself, to her strength, her clarity, her calm. The woman who can do that doesn't lose, she evolves. And that evolution commands deep respect because it's rare. Most people stay where they're comfortable. She chooses where she's respected, and that choice, quiet, firm, and unwavering, is what makes her unforgettable. Leading with dignity instead of ego is what truly separates a powerful woman from a prideful one. She doesn't need to dominate a conversation or prove that she's right to feel strong. Her strength shows up in how she treats others, even when they don't deserve her kindness. Dignity means she can stay graceful under pressure, calm in chaos, and respectful even when disrespected. That kind of composure is rare because it comes from inner peace, not external validation. Men notice it instantly. They can sense the difference between someone who acts tough and someone who simply is strong. Dignity doesn't need to shout. It speaks through silence, through presence, through how she carries herself when no one's watching. She understands that ego demands attention, but dignity earns it. Ego needs to win, but dignity needs to stay true. When she leads with dignity, she knows that losing her temper, lowering her standards, or matching someone's disrespect doesn't prove her power. It wastes it. She's learned that silence can be more powerful than reaction, and restraint can say more than words ever could. When someone tries to provoke her, she doesn't take the bait. Instead, she responds with composure that disarms and commands respect, because people remember how you made them feel, and dignity always leaves a mark of calm strength, not chaos. Leading with dignity also means being kind without being naive. She knows that empathy isn't weakness, it's wisdom. She doesn't belittle others to feel important. She doesn't compete, compare, or criticize to feel superior. Her confidence doesn't come from being above anyone. It comes from being at peace with who she is. That's why she's unbothered by gossip, unshaken by rejection, and uninterested in drama. Her energy says, I don't need to prove my worth. I just live it. That kind of grounded confidence is what men deeply respect because it shows emotional intelligence, the ability to stay kind, fair, and firm all at once. When she leads with dignity, she also knows when to apologize and when to walk away. Ego